If your brain is at full capacity with to-dos, birthdays, and dinner plans, meet Skylight Calendar. It syncs your entire family schedule onto a sleek digital display, so you focus on important things like where you left your coffee. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/talk. Go to skylightcal.com/talk for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's skylightcal.com/talk.
One's a Brit, one's a redneck, and one's a Kiwi. They want you to join them to discuss the mysteries of the world, the unexplained, and the unbelievable. Lock your door, grab your tinfoil hat, and prepare to have your mind blown.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for coming back for part 2. We've still got Steve, Clark, and Abby with us right now. So, Clark, do you want to carry on from where we left off?
Tell us about how bad the social media and the arrests and all that and cleaning the prisons out. Tell us about that, dude.
Oh, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. If you say anything against the government, you're classed as far right now and you can be arrested. That's what's happening over here at the moment.
So you can make a Facebook post and they can come and get you. Like, I've seen these videos. You can say, screw the government, and they can literally show up and take you to jail for that crap, right?
Yeah, you search on Facebook, arrested for Facebook post, and you'll see they're going into people's homes and they're just arresting normal people. I think there was a lady in her 60s. She's in prison for 2 years because she put one post on Facebook. But they're
2 years.
2 years.
Well,
yeah,
I think that's what we're headed towards here.
Yeah,
I think with Mark Zuckerberg saying, "Oh, we're okay with free speech now," Elon's like,
no,
"Oh
they're
yeah,
not.
free speech." They're not at all. But I think it's a way to make us feel comfortable about saying some shit, and then in 4 years or however long it's going to be, we are going to be held responsible.
Oh yeah, because there's a paper trail. Yeah, most definitely. That was a bold-faced lie. There's
I feel like it's all trick.
Coerced into saying something, nefarious about the government, which will be held against you later on.
Yeah, I tested the free speech bullshit lie, and I got.
Oh no, they hit me. They didn't hit me like 3 times already. Facebook has and Instagram since he said that, so I knew he was lying.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. We had that over here. They said, "Oh, free speech. You can say whatever you want," and as soon as people were saying it, boom, you're in prison for 2 years.
Like, really?
But they can shove propaganda down our throats on a daily basis.
Yeah, like we've got the BBC throwing propaganda down our ears all the time over here. It's absolutely crazy.
I used to love BBC. Not.
Oh no, not
I used
anymore.
To love BBC. Not anymore. But when I lived over there, I used to watch that stuff. You guys had some wild TV shows. Man.
Yeah, there was some wild TV shows. It's a shame it's run by a certain type of person. I'm not sure if we can say what type of person, but a certain type.
Yeah, we can't quite say,
No.
But everybody knows.
Yeah, just Google
That's
it.
Probably why I don't have any followers on Twitter. Yo, I was fixing to say, what about that USAID stuff, y'all? Have y'all?
Yeah.
I know Abby's heard about it, but have y'all been keeping up with that? They've been tracking, hundreds of millions of dollars, sent to just all these different people, just all these different stuff about, things that we don't agree with. If you want to be trans, that's your choice, that's fine. But funding that kind of stuff for other countries, and then I don't know, man. It's just how much money.
Just because, and I only just got mad about that yesterday when I took my son to the dentist, and they told me I need to pay $2,700 for all these procedures and stuff. I'm like, well, I just want to take care of this one thing. No, and it doesn't even cover the root canal or whatever else we want to do. So it's $2,700. But I laughed, and then I started crying a minute.
Oh my god!
That's
crazy.
Well, I mean, I can't and the only reason is because I'm like, no wonder America's health is so bad. Who can afford that? And I'm not even that bad off, and I almost puked. I'm like, that's a freaking vacation. What do you mean?
Yeah, I know. It's a scam, man. The American healthcare system And the insurance thing, I've had several different types of insurance over the years. Every one, I've had maybe one. I had some version of Blue Cross that was decent, but this was years ago. Insurance now is an absolute joke in America. If you pay out of pocket, Steve and Doc, it's like just for me and my family. If I paid out of pocket, it'd be just say $2,000 a month, right? And that's for one of the
Yep.
decent plans. It will not cover anything. Look,
Nothing.
doctor's visits, you still got to pay like $200 per visit.
Yeah.
And your dental insurance, dental is the biggest scam of all dental insurance. There's
His
no
dad,
dental insurance.
his dad has Delta Dental for him. He gets it from
The Delta,
Lockheed
that's
Martin.
supposed to be the best one.
Dude,
Yeah.
he gets it from Lockheed Martin. That's where he works, and that's all
And
I
it
can
still don't
say.
cover.
And it still doesn't cover it.
That's such bull crap, man. What
I'm
about
like,
y'all, man? What is y'all's insurance like? Real quick, Steve, is yours like? Do you pay like? I guess you own your own business, so I mean, how is it set up? Y'all's health insurance?
Yeah, health insurance. My wife has a thing called a pneumothorax, which is her lungs spontaneously collapse. It hasn't happened for a few years, so yeah, she
Oh,
is pretty
geez.
heavy. She is pretty heavy health insurance because she needs to be covered for things like that. And obviously, when
Yeah.
our kids were born, she sort of took under like umbrella policies under her one, for our kids. And yeah, for me, I don't really get sick. I'm more of an accident sort of a guy. So yeah, in terms of
You just like
healthcare,
break
I
your
don't.
leg on your dirt bike or something. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I broke my leg, both my ankles, my back. I've been through the ringer with that. But
No
yeah,
biggie.
in,
Yeah.
in terms of health, I'm pretty healthy, dude. And until the government makes me sick, which I'm very
But
aware about of, yeah, this and that, I'm very
does your
selective as what
insurance
goes in my
does it
body.
cover does it cover your doctor's visits, like your prescriptions? Is it all free? Like how that's what I was wondering. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like when
so
y'all
obviously, I think from my understanding, the UK has the best system for that. But yeah, for us, no, we have to pay for every doctor's visits. The children are free. I think you're free up to about 15 years old or something like that in New
dang,
Zealand.
we
But
don't have that here, dude.
yeah,
no,
dude. I
Daggone.
not
mean,
even that.
a lot of yeah, a lot of lower sort of income families, they can't even afford to go to the doctor when they're sick because it's sort of like 50, $60 a time. And if you're
Yeah.
sick and you need to go back sort of 2 or 3 times or whatever, then that just puts some people out of pocket, so they just don't go. So yeah, it's a bit of a shit because you'd like to think that the government will look after you, but that's the thing, man. Like everyone will
Can't
think
rely
that
on them.
the government's going to look after them when shit hits the fan. But we've been proven time and time again, and especially through COVID, that was sort of the guinea pig for it. That really went to show you that the government doesn't give a shit about you, and that they're more than happy for you to exit this world and be unalive, if you will, because they're going to profit from it. Like we've got people, stories in the States of people being hooked up to ventilators when they don't need to be, just so the hospital can get X amount of dollars more or whatever. It's just crazy. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, in terms of insurance here in New Zealand, it does cost a lot, and yeah, you're not really covered. I hate insurance, man. Yeah, they're more than happy to take your premium, but as soon as you want to claim on something, oh no, we don't actually cover that. We don't actually cover due to clause 12C
Yeah.
142. We
Yeah.
don't actually cover.
That sounds
Don't
like
actually cover
America,
that.
dude.
Yeah, it's just like,
It's
what are you
all
talking about?
scam, dude.
Yeah, so it's like you're almost better just to flag the insurance and just run the gauntlet. Maybe save
What's
save
like,
that money you would have otherwise spent in a wee trust fund or something when you get sick, just to dip into that.
see, I never
What'd you say,
understood
Abby?
why. I just never understood why they didn't create an organization or a business, right? So anytime that you have a dental plan or health insurance, you work for one job, but say you quit that job and you go to another one, that insurance starts all over again. So it's like you never even paid into that. So it's like it's
Yeah,
why not create a company where it's like treated almost like a savings account where people are paying monthly. And I didn't use my insurance for years, so it's like, where did all these thousands of dollars go that I gave you guys then? You're just going to
Yes.
cover this? What the F?
Yes.
Like,
That's
that's
a
ridiculous.
yeah. Oh, it makes me
yeah.
so
So
mad.
That's
It'll get me, it get me
crazy.
so hot.
Oh, I was so
dental and all
mad
that stuff,
yesterday.
that's free in the UK. Yeah, is that right, Doc?
Uh,
Yeah, y'all are free, right, Andy?
over here, yeah,
Dang.
pretty much everything's free. You have to pay for prescriptions. That's about £10. But yeah, anything. If I broke my leg now, I'd go to hospital, get it done. My
How
tooth
about
that I
we
And it
had
wouldn't
out
cost anything.
wouldn't cost anything.
I'll
No.
send you copper and I'll send you copper and you can take me to the doctor.
There you go. I'll take you to Doctor
Dude.
Free. There you go. Sorted. But yeah,
That
Yeah,
it's
is
all
also,
free.
crazy, man.
All free over here.
Back when I
Anything
was,
doesn't matter what happens, it's free, dude. That's so hard
yeah.
for me to fathom as a silly, American, because like what? That's
Dude,
crazy, man.
to fly from the UK to New Zealand, I don't know how many hours it is, but it's cost a lot of money, right? We're talking thousands of dollars. And back when I was employed, I had an English workmate, and he needed a root canal done, and he got quoted as about $8,000 here in New Zealand to get that done. And he's like, there's just no way. So yeah, he jumped on a plane. Obviously, had to pay his way there, but it was cheaper for him to fly home to England and have his root canal done for free and then fly home than it was
Yeah.
to go to a local dentist in New Zealand.
That's
Because it's like
crazy.
$90 to fly. I remember flying to Ireland for like $80.
That's mad
Oh,
insane.
yeah.
What?
That's
Yeah,
crazy. Was that Ryanair or something?
What?
Was that?
I know
there's
during COVID, it was the plane flights were. I flew to Vegas for like $40 or something like that, or
Yeah.
$30 or something.
The
Vegas,
plane was
baby.
small. The plane was small and scary, I will say that. But I still, I mean, it got me there. I don't know if I'll
Yeah,
fly again
dang
now,
right.
but yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
used to be a lot more brave than I am now. I'm just scared of the world.
in
Well, you're
terms of
older and wiser
accidents-
now.
I'm not sure how it works with healthcare, but in terms of accidents, New Zealand has this thing called ACC, so it's Accident Compensation Corporation or something like that. And what happens, like if any of you guys were to come to New Zealand, even though you're not New Zealanders, like, say, Abby, you came to New Zealand and you're biking along and you broke your leg, say, you go to hospital, you need an operation to fix that leg. It's all covered by the government. That's all free. It doesn't matter that you're not a New Zealand citizen. It doesn't matter that you haven't paid into the system or whatever. We'll fix you because we're not going to leave you on the side of the road with your bone sticking out of your leg. It's like, that's what's crazy to me. Like if I go to the States and break my leg, they're not fixing me unless they're getting paid.
No.
It's like
Yeah.
they will leave me on the side of the road with a bone sticking out of my leg unless they know that they're getting paid to fix me. I
That's
just
how it
couldn't believe
was.
it. When
That's
I
how it
went to the
was.
States, well, I was in Las Vegas and I went to the shooting range, and the chick behind the counter there, she was heavily pregnant, and I was asking her, what sort of systems are in place for America to help a young pregnant woman, and she said nothing. It's more beneficial for her to go north and cross the border where Canada would pay her to have her baby, whereas in the States she has to have money behind her to have her baby. And then she's obviously going to be charged for delivering that baby. Like that's just unfathomable.
Yeah, dude, it
unfathomable
is,
to
and they
me.
won't even
100.
see you. It just sickens me, man. That they
I
won't
mean-
even see you if you don't have insurance.
With both of my sons, I got preeclampsia, so they were both premature, not breathing or anything. And
Oh,
so we
geez.
had to be
Mm.
hospitalized for like a week for both of them.
Mm.
And I remember looking at the medical, and I had my first son in England, and I remember being like, oh my God, if I didn't have insurance, this would have cost me like £200,000. Like,
People actually
which is
fly
whatever.
to England to have the babies. It's called like medical tourism, but they'll fly here when they're near their due date and have their babies in this country.
I was so scared
Dang.
because before I had my son, I was dealing with some health issues, and so the hospital on base couldn't help me, or they were renovating or something, and so I had to go off base to the hospital somewhere else. I can't remember exactly, but I remember being in the ER and being like really nervous because all we had was curtains separating us. You didn't get a room.
No, yeah.
I was expecting,
Yeah.
I was expecting a room, and I was like, I'm kind of signing myself out now. I gotta get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here.
That would have been kind of weird.
Hey, it's free. What do you
I can't do
expect?
this. Yeah, I know. I know. That's how spoiled we are. See, we
Exactly,
complain
yeah.
about prices, and then
It's free, and you want a private room and room service.
I just didn't want to have birth in front of strangers, man. Is that too much?
No.
Oh, they wheel you out
Heck
when you're
no.
actually giving birth. They wheel you out, so don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah. Just
Yeah. Tell them to give you the heavy. Hey, look, I was just looking at this right here. Y'all had mentioned that "Leave the World Behind" movie earlier. So I just typed in, how many movies has Obama produced, and it is 17. The magic number 17.
Oh,
Is
you
that
can look
right?
You can look majority of our politicians up on Web. Is it no IMDb? They all
Yeah.
have.
That I didn't. I knew the Obamas had done it, but they always talk about that the magic number 17. Like That's what I hear a lot about that, and I see a lot of that post on X. They're like 17 this, 17 that, and it's supposed to correlate, with some much deeper meaning, Um, but yeah, that's crazy, man. And then, the world's a stage, is all I can say. I mean, really, really and truly, the world's a stage. There is no. I feel like, as far as talking about the right and the left goes, I know I feel in my heart that there is no right way to go at this point, because
Yeah.
they were put in place to keep us divided, to keep us. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm a hardcore Democrat. No, hey, I'm not saying that. No, obviously, I would never have ever voted that way. No, no, no. But they play us against each other, and it's when you finally realize that, and you take a step back, like I have, like just recently, and really looked at it with a fully open mind. Both sides play us equally. I mean, they
They've used
really,
people
and
as
they,
pawns. They've used people as
yes.
pawns. You got to think about it this way, right?
If your brain is at full capacity with to-dos, birthdays, and dinner plans, meet Skylight Calendar. It syncs your entire family schedule onto a sleek digital display, so you focus on important things like where you left your coffee. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to skylightcal.com/talk. Go to skylightcal.com/talk for $30 off your 15-inch calendar. That's skylightcal.com/talk.
It's been constant freaking whiplash with these people, like a narcissistic relationship. I know because I was raised in a family of narcissists. It's like, okay, 1 year you can have abortions. The next year, no abortions. 1 year you can be transgender. The next year you can't be transgender. 1 year, two sexes. The next year, four sexes. You know what I mean? Black,
Yeah,
black or white, right or left. It's just kind of whiplash, and it's like, why
yeah,
can't we ever just figure it the fuck out? Why
exactly,
can't we just
man.
ever figure it out and work it out? Why are these two parties constantly at odds with each other, but also at the same time working together on certain agendas like green energy or something?
Yeah, that's it.
It's
The agenda. It's what they're getting to. They'll try and get to the agenda in two different ways. One side will do it
well,
so far, and then they'll go to the other side, and they'll continue
yeah,
that journey. It's that kind of
they're
thing.
causing these social issues. One party is going to welcome all the immigrants, so all the immigrants are coming because they effing told them to,
Yeah,
and so now
Yeah,
the next party is being like, sorry, nope, y'all gotta go, and so they're being shipped
yeah. I
out again,
mean,
and then who knows? I'm sorry, but Trump's not perfect, and who knows where these people are going to end up? Guantanamo
oh
Bay,
man,
30,000 people. Are you kidding me?
you should check the
yeah.
video on my TikTok. It's a video that was made by the Welsh government. They have their own little government, and it's two schoolgirls telling immigrants to come to this country and telling them the benefits of them coming to this country. It's on my
Oh,
TikTok
I saw
somewhere.
that, dude.
Yeah.
They were like 12 years old, 11
Yep.
or 12, and the school had to make that, or the government had to make that show. Like, hey, yeah, come on here. We can't wait to talk to you guys. And then it shows pictures, dude. These are like 30 something, 40 something year old men,
Yeah.
probably six or seven of them, sitting with three 11 or 12-year-old girls at the lunch table
Yep.
talking about their life and stuff, getting to know each other. It said that was the most sickening. That's just so, it's disgusting,
It
man.
was
It just
They're
shocking.
using
disgusts me, dude.
people as pawns, and all of our politicians has just shipped immigrants. You know what I mean? And it's really weird because when you look at like where the Republican parties have shipped immigrants to, it was literally all the cities that were up in flames. You know how they were like, "Oh my gosh, Venezuelans in Colorado," it's because you shipped 50,000 of them there. The whole thing was
Yeah,
orchestrated. New
it,
York City,
1,000%,
Chicago, all the cities
thousand
where they
percent.
just yes, all the cities where they specifically shipped ethnicities to certain
And
locations.
that's where the ice raids are happening right now. Supposedly, they're going to these same places that they took them to, and they're getting them.
I
Like
think it's
it's,
sad because not all of them. I'm so different. I think in my mindset of this because not all of them are pedophile rapists, dude. I know some illegal
yeah.
immigrants that are really good
Oh yeah,
people, and
I
it's like
agree, man.
you saw my genealogy. My freaking family came here on a ship. They sold themselves to masters. Sounds like white slavery to me, but whatever. They didn't
Yeah,
come over
that's
here on
exactly what it
papers.
is.
They
Yeah.
didn't come over here on papers. They started America from the ground up.
Well,
And that's the
that's
thing.
it.
Like
Yeah.
as an American, I understand all these people in other countries. That all the immigrants have been coming over, illegally or whatever. I get it, wanting a better life. Like I told my wife, I said, look, if we were in a really horrible
Yeah,
country, horrible situation, and we were told, hey, come here and we're going to give you all this free money and this housing and you can take care of your
absolutely.
family, I'd be like, baby, let's go. We're going. We're going to start walking right now to give our
Yeah.
kids a better life, give them a chance. So I
Well, it's like
totally understand it. I
other
get it, man.
countries do. There are other countries that will pay you to move there and live and help build their communities. They don't care.
That's wild.
I think Sweden
It was
did
like
that, didn't they?
Switzerland or Denmark, Sweden. Yeah, Sweden.
Sweden did
Yeah,
it, didn't? Yeah.
Sweden.
Look at the trouble they're having now. that's another conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the process is so. I mean, what are you going to do? How are you going to separate the good people from the bad people? Like, how do you do that? Psych evaluations. How long does that take? And who are the ones given the psych evaluations or
And they
background
can't.
checks? Like,
Exactly. They're
there's
not. They
no
just.
perfect way to do this. There's
No,
not.
there isn't. No.
No, it's a mess, man. It really is. And I have empathy for the ones that like the good ones, that traveled thousands of miles, and they're getting turned around at the border or they finally get here, and I get it. You're supposed to come into the country legally. I understand that all completely. And there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. If they did it the wrong way, then yeah, that's whatever. But I don't know, man. Instead of being so diehard Republican, Trump, 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 screw all the immigrants, get out of here. Ah! Instead of being so hardcore with it, just stop and think for a second. Well, maybe not all of them, are rapists, hardcore murderers. There are a lot of them like that, yes, but I mean, I don't know, man.
Well,
It's
it's
just
like if we can take over the Gaza Strip, why can't we take over the border of Mexico where that lies on Texas or whatever states? Like, why can't we put something there to where everyone can live peaceful? Or if I mean, I see there are U.S. bases in just about every freaking country in the world.
yeah,
And
Yes.
I'm kind of
yeah,
wondering, why haven't we done anything about Mexico? Why are there people leaving? Why is it so bad there? Like, why don't we put our hands in that? But no.
yeah, yeah. Well,
It's not
it's
about
just
solving the problem.
no, they don't want the
Yeah,
problem to be solved. Also, back to what y'all, Steve or one of y'all said something earlier about the turbo cancer thing. So, what about the new the cancer vaccine thing they're talking about with the AI? AI can inject you with nanobots. It can swim in your bloodstream, find the virus, find the cancer, come out.
yeah.
They can create
48
a
hours later.
vaccine within 48 hours and cure you of cancer. And why aren't they trying to stop cancer at its source? Because cancer rates have went up. Jesus. But then it makes you wonder if all these jabs, the COVID shots, are allegedly causing these turbo cancers, that are up like 1,000% or whatever. If that's really the case, did they give everybody cancer on purpose in some, just to say, hey, we can cure it, watch, and
They
then
did it
what's
back
going
in
to
the
happen?
90s.
Yeah, of course they did.
Yes,
Of
they
course
did.
they
Yeah.
injected
They
Yeah.
did
them
it
on
back in the
purpose.
90s
Yeah.
here. You can just research Bill Clinton apologizes for radiation experiments in 1995, in which the American government experimented on the on the people in the U.S. and it lasted for 75 years.
Didn't they
Was a
Yeah.
spray?
Democrat or
They sprayed
Republican?
something in LA, didn't they? Was it radon? They sprayed it for like
Operation
weeks.
Sea Spray.
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
look,
Was
Sea
that what it
Spray was in
was?
1950. Yep.
Oh, was
Oh,
that
there's
then?
It
all
says,
kinds, all
what
kinds.
did
They did
they
it
say?
to New York subways and everything.
Danford.
Yeah, I just remember
It's the
seeing it. The
same
Yeah,
with the
planes
dude.
AIDS.
going over.
It's the same with the
Yeah.
AIDS model in the 80s, like when they
They
released this virus, they already have a cure for it, but they just want to, send it out there into the mass population as guinea pigs, and watch it spread around and, watch it do its thing before they come in. Oh, yeah, now we got, we don't have a cure, but we got a prevention for it, or we got medicines you can take which will prolong your life if you have it. And now it's not like the AIDS thing, it's not really a thing. If you have HIV, you can actually live like a normal, healthy, long life still because of all these magic medicines that they've just made
Like
that can
Magic
prolong
Johnson.
your
Yeah,
life.
Magic
Yeah,
Johnson.
yeah. I truly believe that the cure for these things is made at the same time as the virus. So
1,000%, man.
yeah,
absolutely,
it's just a guinea pig
absolutely.
system. That they're like, well, let's see what happens. How many people will actually get sick, and it's
And
all about depopulation. Like all of the world elites, they want the world population to be 500 million, and all these people, they need to be dying of what's quotation natural causes, but there's nothing really natural about it. Obviously, yeah, for the turbo cancers from COVID, 100%. That's made, it's accelerated, things in people's bodies, which is giving them cancer, and that now instead of a 70-year-old woman getting cancer in her later years of her life, it's a 17-year-old woman, and when she goes to the
Yeah.
extreme for it,
Kids.
it's stage 4 cancer, and she's got weeks left to live, and there's nothing we can do for you. It's all brought on by these injectables and things that are put into people's bodies 100%.
That's
Yeah,
why I think
dude.
there's about to be another cancer surge. It's not that I don't think that the vaccine caused cancer, because a lot of reports said that they did, along with heart issues. But I
Yeah.
definitely think that there's going to be another health surge, like health issue surge, because all of these countries, like I said, and I don't want to get back on the mining, but there's going to be a lot of it. And
Yeah.
these are dust particles. It's not just going to be in your water. It's going to be in your food. It's going to be in the air.
Like the fog, that fog
Yeah.
situation. All that fog is back again too.
I
It's,
knew,
I don't know,
I
man.
knew when we got yellow skies that something was severely wrong, because my skin was burning. Like, that yellow fog was different than whatever else. That yellow fog had some kind of poisonous something in it, because my
1,000%.
oh my neck was on fire, my arms were burning, my scalp was burning, my face was burning. It was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. That's not. And real quick, I want to read these little two sentences. So back to Operation Sea Spray. This is for anybody who thinks that, oh no, our government will never do this. There's no proof. Operation Sea Spray was a 1950 U.S. Navy secret biological warfare experiment. Okay, in which they sprayed some type of bacteria over the San Francisco Bay Area in order to
Yeah.
determine how vulnerable a city was to a bioweapon attack. It killed one person and sickened, it says only 10, but I heard that it made hundreds and hundreds of people, sick. So they literally said, hey, let's spray San Francisco and let's just see what it does, y'all. And this was 75 years ago. So just
Just to see.
imagine.
Let's just
And they
see.
Just
did it,
imagine.
and they did it, and they did those experiments for 75 years. So just think
Yeah.
about that.
The whole yes, like, oh my goodness, dude, if you really think about that, the same thing with cloud seeding. That was 77 years ago. They seeded the first hurricane. It crossed over Florida, got to the ocean. The NOAA, it's on the website. They seeded it. They flew home. The next day they come back to look at the hurricane. It was 100 miles off course. It had turned around and went straight back and hit the coast of Florida, the coast of Florida, and where Georgia is. It hit Savannah. I think it killed a few people too. I mean, and then they almost got sued because all the damage the hurricane made, because they literally seeded it. They dumped dry ice into it. It made it bigger, stronger, faster. That was 77 years ago, y'all. So
Yeah.
just imagine right now. Just imagine. I mean, just think about it. That's all I ask.
I mean, you can read articles now where they've cloud seeded the Colorado River for decades now.
I mean, it's just yeah.
And then the entire South gets snow, the Smackover Formation, which has
Florida,
mass
yeah,
sources
and
of
yeah,
it.
talk about that. So we got snow, recently all across the whole bottom side of America, I guess.
Right.
And so what's up with that? What what's the connection?
So you can research cloud seeding the Colorado River to add snowfall. This is because the Colorado River's in a drought, so when the snow melts, they want the ice to melt and the snow to melt and from the mountaintops, and then it'll go to the rivers, right, where they are using the water for other things. Well, you can see it's called the Smackover Formation, and it's the entire South. So I believe it's Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, if I didn't say that one. And so they just found mass sources of lithium there, and every single one of those states just got blasted with snow. 11 inches. 11.
Golly. Yeah.
People,
Damn.
the Amish where I live around the Amish, and that's where they go for vacation in the winter. They are probably so mad right now.
Oh no, I bet.
They all come back with tans, but not this
I
year,
know.
I guess.
Daggum.
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy,
mean,
man.
yeah, you just need to look at places like Dubai and Valencia in Spain. They're having these huge floods last year. Like these are like 1 in 1,000 year biblical type floods that just never ever happens there. The only reason it happens because they cloud seeded the shit out of the skies and
Yeah.
created all this water to come down in places which is otherwise drought.
Yeah, exactly. Dubai
But we
admitted it
need,
as well.
to be.
but we've needed Matt Damon and Hillary Clinton to build or to create these different fundraisers and stuff so Africa can have water. These people
Yeah,
haven't had
man.
water since I've been born. I was learning in school about these poor African children that have no water. But
Yeah, they've been using that
what
as
the F?
a money thing to get. It's the corruption is just it goes so deep, man.
I
It's
always
just
found it the
insane.
most. I've always found it extremely bizarre how certain locations of the world live like this, and other locations live like that. I've never been able to comprehend it.
Yeah,
My my
exactly.
eyes were actually opened to it in terms of the relief fund when Australia was on fire a few years ago. And again, that's probably for natural reserves that are in the
Yep.
ground there. But yeah, when Australia was on fire and everyone was saying, "Oh, donate to the Red Cross, donate to the Red Cross," you got to save all the wildlife here, and we got to help these people that are just stricken by fires. And it seems like a good cause. And then when you look more into it, the Red Cross has tens of millions, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and all the donations that go in there. You would think people donating to help these fires, that every single dollar that they're donating is going towards these fires. It's just not the case.
No.
It's just
No.
funding these massive machines, and what they're doing is just dispersing a tiny portion of the donations to that relief fund. Like, oh, okay, let's say we've been donated $10 million, so we're going to give $100,000 to this relief fund for these
Yep.
wildfires, and we're just going to save the rest because there's going to be another natural disaster or someone else that needs the aid. So we'll just save this here in an investment fund, which is probably going to gain interest and make us all rich. We'll just save it for the next rainy day or the next wildfire where we'll just drip feed them a little bit more, So
Yep.
all these people donating these big chunks to help these causes, really their money is just going to line the pockets of the greedy people that run the
Yep.
organizations. It's not actually helping these people on ground level whatsoever.
That's the same thing that was happening in Maui. These FEMA people, they were staying in like 5-star hotels, having a vacation.
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
Absolutely wild. It's the same thing that's going on in LA too. It's
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, how can you do that as a person? Like as a human being, how can you live with yourself? I don't know, man.
Money is the root of all evil, and we are seeing it. We are seeing it plain as day anymore.
That's what it is. It's
Yeah,
all
I mean,
about money.
very, very right.
Obviously the news, on TV is not the news. That's a propaganda wheel. So the real news to me is people that are, on their social media platforms and they're doing lives and they're there at ground level. And what really spoke volumes to me was during those Maui fires when, local residents that weren't affected by the fires or whatever were bringing, water and food and medical supplies and only to be turned away by, like FEMA agents had cordoned off, the burn areas and said, look, the government will take it from here. The military has it under control. We don't want your help. We don't want your rations. And if you continue to try and help these people, we'll arrest you. It's like that just spoke volumes to me. There's something really nefarious going on, because if it really was a real disaster and there's people that need this help, obviously, all hands, many hands make for light work. So you would welcome every bit of help, of course, bring in this drinking water, bring these people foods and rations and supplies and medical aid and that, like we can help these people. The more people that help and chip in and bring things, we can just lift everyone together. But yeah, as soon as the government says, oh, thanks, mate, we'll take it from here, that it's absolutely lies. And there's just, there's something wrong, really, really wrong with that module.
Well, it's absolutely, especially I know that in LA they were rejecting people. They were rejecting people's help. I actually pretty sure I heard the same thing about Maui. Like
and North Carolina turning people away. Yep.
Yeah, I know there was helicopter pilots that wanted to, take people that were basically abandoned and left to die on the mountainside and no way out or whatever. They were being helicoptered out, and then the government come in and said, look, we're gonna we're gonna take your helicopter, we're gonna crush it and destroy it. You're gonna be arrested. Like you're not allowed to help these people. They're basically left on the mountainside to die because the government will look after them. You got to trust the government. It's like no.
No, dude.
It's like it's really sickening. It's made me physically sick on multiple occasions watching this kind of stuff take place.
Yeah, that's like I told y'all last week, man. The housing, the little small, I think 10 by 20 sheds. They brought like 200 of them to give, like the little, temporary housing for people. Well, they said, no, these are code violations, so no, they can't use any of these. I mean, this is a lot of money too. The companies didn't care about the money, but all these people had donated, but so they turned them away. Well, just recently, because it was so cold outside, this a mom and a dad and their newborn, I think the newborn's maybe 6 months old, they froze to death. They froze in a tent outside because they were denied housing, denied the little storage sheds that were brought to them by FEMA slash the government or whatever.
You know
There's
what's
no, and this that's just three people out of God knows how many.
Oh, I'm sure there was hundreds that we haven't heard about. And what's so messed up, Clark, that I manufactured RVs for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I specifically worked for an all FEMA plant, which means we were building 36 FEMA units, specifically FEMA units per day. I haven't seen one of those go anywhere. It's owned by Warren. It's owned by Warren Buffett. The majority of there's a whole rabbit hole there. I don't want to derail too much.
Yeah, we're gonna have you on again, like in the next couple of weeks, and go down those rabbit holes with all the higher up people. Because by the way, y'all, she's really really good and knowledgeable about all the, I guess you can call them celebrities and high profile people. A lot of stuff goes on behind closed doors that yeah, that needs to be talked about too. But we're definitely going to do that whenever we bring you back on, because that's important too. I mean, there's so many things that you know nobody, so many people don't know what's going on. I know I just keep saying
Yeah.
that, but it just blows my mind, because a lot of people, like you said, Steve, they'd rather have their eyes down on their phone, just sleepwalking through life, not really paying attention, just kind of doing their
Well, yeah,
thing.
they just believe what they're told because the government told them, and that's the other thing too. I don't trust the numbers, whether it's, the amount of people affected by COVID or, the amount of deaths here or there. When the news is reporting that these disasters have happened and, only this many people are displaced and, we've only lost this many lives, it's all bullshit, man. It's just a wishy-washy number. So people think, oh, well, that's not so bad. And the government has it under control. The number is way, way surpassed what they would tell you on the television.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like, it's through real life things, through lives and people's social media and actually on the ground level. That's where the real news is. And, when you can see it right in front of your eyes that these places are decimated, and that there's, thousands of lost lives, if not tens of thousands, and they're reporting, luckily there's only 10 people that have, died or whatever, it's complete bullshit. And, like the numbers, you looked at the World Health Organization when COVID came along, and they were talking about, the number of people that have obviously contracted the disease and the number of people that have then gone on to be vaccinated and stuff. It's all, the figures is just bullshit, like you're telling me there's more people that have been vaccinated in, say, places like Ghana and things like that. There's low population areas than there are in places like China. Like, get real. Like places where there's billions of population, and then the numbers are just fudged, and the numbers are fake. It doesn't mean anything, like. And I mean, I guess our generation is the generation where we actually stop and ask questions for the most part. And I think the generation before us, they just believe what they're told because someone told them.
Yep.
Like the H1N1, the bird flu. It's like, my mother's generation, they're all like, oh, well, here we go again. Like, we better just line up and get our bird flu jab. It's like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like,
No,
see what
don't.
happened last time? Like, you got to learn the lessons of the past, man. You can't just go blindly into the next thing because the government told you so.
Dude.
No, I think
it's-
we could. Sorry, Abby, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think it's funny how I'm pretty sure that I was awake to vaccines at least a little bit right before COVID came out, because I was pregnant literally right before COVID hit. And I remember being at my baby shower, and there was a doctor there who was a part of the family, and she came and she's like, you really need to get your flu vaccine before you have your baby. I said, you're fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. I don't even like shots anyway. I've always been a bit suspicious. Like, what is in this juice that you're injecting?
Yeah.
Me?
People don't think about that, man. I mean,
and I know that, like, in order to go to England, we had to get vaccines, especially him being in the military. And
you
when
needed
I come
vaccines
back,
for
and
England.
what?
I don't remember what they were.
I believe it though.
So long ago. Yeah, especially being in the military. And then when upon coming back, you have to answer an entire questionnaire if you want to donate blood or plasma about like how long you were in the UK, what you came in contact with, what injections you got over there. Yes, that's really weird.
I bet it was the MMR.
Yeah.
It must have been the MMR. It must be that one. Measles, mumps, rubella.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I won't
so
be getting any more of those.
It's
I
funny you
won't
say that
ever.
because, yeah, well, exactly. Because
No.
our neighbour, she went and got her little boy's MMR jab, and then like it seemed all kosher. He got the jab, sweet as he's immunised or whatever. He comes home, and then the doctor rung back up our neighbour and said, "Oh, look, for whatever reason, the jab that we give him, it wasn't the right amount, or it didn't get administered correctly. Like, we need you to come back so we can re-administer it." And
Oh no.
she's like pro jabber, man. She's had like 12 boosters, so she's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'll just run my son back to the clinic and we'll get another one, make sure it works. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's in that
Dude.
second jab? What was in that first jab? Like, why do I need a second one? Like, there's nothing makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
Well,
what are
that's
you
like the
telling me?
COVID. There's like 6 of them, isn't there?
Oh, there was a.
Boosters?
Oh
I don't even
Yeah.
I
know.
think
Like,
it was the first one. Oh,
isn't there? Isn't there
that was
like
just
5 or
ridiculous.
6?
I'm trying to
I
count
don't
them
know.
now
Yeah,
in my head.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, no, I think I know there was. I remember when there was 4, and then they come out with all these new variants. So yeah, there's probably
Yeah.
like 8 or 9 at this point. That's just
What the
ridiculous,
hell?
man. Like, just stop and think. And while we're on vaccines, real quick before we wrap up, I guess the anybody that's listening and you have children, or if you plan on having children, please, please, please look up the autism statistics and how much they've risen in the past,
Yes.
just say past 10 years. I mean, it's like I don't even, like 1,000%, like 1 in 30 kids have autism now, or something, or 1 in 26. I can't remember. It's pretty close to that number. So
I think it's more
a
than
lot
that.
of it is, it's it's the food. Oh, is it more than that now?
Yeah, I think it is now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's like 1 in 4.
I believe it, dude. See that the only thing that's changed is the kids' vaccine schedule. They get like 75 or 72 shots or something over the first couple years. I mean that there's a book called The Vaccine Friendly Plan that our nurse told us about whenever we had Maverick, and because they were wanting to give him all these different shots, and she's like, it's your it's y'all's decision, but in my opinion, because she used to work for this same doctor that wrote the book and everything, so she was very knowledgeable and really opened my eyes up a lot more to how bad the autism is now. I mean, it's and all these mRNA vaccines, like my brother's fixing to have a kid, in the next couple months, and like I don't want to like tell him what to do, but I just I'm going to because that'll be my nephew, another nephew, but. It's like you don't want to force it on people because a lot of people don't want to listen. They think, oh, he's an anti-vaxxer. Oh, he's just a conspiracy theorist. But if you actually stop and look at the rate of autism and the correlated with the vaccines in that book, the Vaccine Friendly Plan, it shows you how much autism has went up whenever a new shot was introduced, and now most of them are all that mRNA technology. So that's a whole nother can of worms, and it's just do your research is all I would highly recommend is just research it before you go and getting your kid poked with 20 or 30 different shots. You know what I mean? That's just think about it for a second. That's all
Yeah,
I
I'm
got.
glad. I'm glad you mentioned that because RFK he's talked about that in terms of your children getting jabbed from a young age, and the whole purpose of it, you can't make money. Big pharma and government agencies, they can't make money from healthy kids.
No.
If kids are never going into the hospital and needing this and that because their bodies are requiring it, so to speak, there's no money to be made from them. So they don't want to kill your child because you can't make money from someone who's not here anymore. But if they can slowly make you sick over time, and you say, oh,
Weaken you.
she's having this problem, yeah, weaken your immune system and make you susceptible to infections and diseases and things like that, where you're going to require a lot of medical attention. You're going to be going to doctor's visits often. You're going to be going to specialists and hospital appointments just to try and get on top of this thing and figure out what it all comes from. Injectables and poisons put into your young child's body, unbeknownst to you. You don't know what you don't know, and you think you're doing the best for your kid by helping them with these immunizations or whatever. So exactly that, Clark. Do your own research because These government agencies and big pharma, they're profiting billions of dollars from your sick child. Every time you go into
Yeah.
this, like you say, we are talking about it before, how expensive it is to go to these appointments. Someone's getting paid, man, and it's just like it's coming at the expense of your child's well-being and their life.
Yes.
All you have to do is research pharmaceuticals. They never cure; they only treat.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Let
exactly
that
right.
sink in. They have never cured an illness; they've only treated.
That's
And that's
exactly
why
right.
and a lot of that stuff is the crap that we're putting into our bodies.
Yeah, and that's
Manufactured
exactly
product.
it. That's exactly it. Like I don't know where I heard it, but I heard something the other day, and it made me really think because it was talking about all these people are under the guise of helping you, but when you really look at it, the mechanic, he doesn't really want you to have a smooth operating vehicle, because how can he make money out of you if he never sees you again? Like he wants your
Yep.
car to be ill so you can take it to the mechanics and get fixed. Like the plumber, he doesn't want you to have smooth running taps and free flowing water. He wants you to have an issue, because how can he make money out of you unless you have a problem? It's the exact same thing with the doctors and the healthcare of yourself and your kids. They don't want you to be cured of these diseases. They don't want you to be healthy, because how could they possibly make money out of you if they never see you again? The guise
That's
is
a
to
good way to
keep
put
you.
it, man.
Yeah, the guise is to keep you a little bit sick for the longevity of your life, so that they can make maximum dollars out of you by seeing you multiple times throughout your life.
Yeah.
God, we could do a whole
So
episode on Big Pharma, couldn't we? A whole episode on that.
Oh, totally. You just need to look, just need to do research into big companies like Pfizer and other ones, that look at how many times they've been taken to court for, things that went haywire or didn't go so well, and like either made people really, really sick, or it gave them, a disease which they couldn't come back from, or even
Yeah.
worse, took their life. So it's like there's millions and millions and millions of dollars in lawsuits of these times where these big pharmaceutical companies have failed in
Well,
their mission to help.
I was for a long period of time seeing a trend of people having severe neurological disorders, almost like being paralyzed in a car accident, because they came out with like antidepressants and stuff when we were kids. That's when like the antidepressants and for bipolar disorder and all of those pills started coming out. Well, now I'm seeing a trend of people who started taking those antidepressants and anxiety medications at like teenagers or 20s are now like 40s or 50s and having severe neurological disorders where they can't
Yeah, like
control their body parts, where they're pretty much
slowly.
debilitated.
Yeah, that's
Well, they only
Yeah,
test for
sadder than you
short
say
term,
that.
don't they? They never test for long term effects because they can't. They can only test for short
They
term
can't.
effects.
Yeah.
So
We
you'll
are their
always see
long-term
like
effects.
exactly we are the guinea pigs. 10, 20, 30 years
Mm-hmm.
down the line, that's when you're going to see the effects of all these things. And by that time, who are you going to sue?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
exactly. Can't sue anyone when you're dead, and it makes your eyebrows raise when all of a sudden COVID comes along, and then oh, here's this miracle vaccine which is gonna first they said, oh, if you take this vaccine, it'll prevent you from getting COVID, and then they said, oh well, then obviously all
Yeah.
these people started getting COVID that had been jabbed, and they said, oh no, well, it actually lessens the symptoms
Yeah, it
of
just makes it a
COVID,
little less.
and
Well,
and
it says
I
that it lessens
yeah.
the spread too. It made you
Yeah,
like
oh, it
unable
lessens the
to give
spread.
it to
Yeah,
someone
that's
else.
right. That's right. And all these people believe it. They're like, oh, that makes sense. It's like, in order for that to be true, because I was like, hang on a minute. In order for that to be true, you would have to have COVID, feel the full effects of how it affects your body, and then get a jab, get COVID again, and then compare it into, oh, it's not so bad this time around because I got the jab. It's complete bullshit. And then I seen another thing which really made me put it all into perspective, and it was just a sort of a bit of a funny meme, but it made total sense. It said, if I got several rabies shots on my dog, and my dog still got rabies, am I trusting this rabies shot?
Oh,
And it's
You
like,
know, like
yeah.
was like,
I
why
used-
can't people think like that? Why do so many people just are like, here's my arm, just give it to me?
Yeah, man. Like they just don't. I don't know. It just blows my mind. I'm
they
not
they
talking
just
bad
do
about
it
any
because
of them, but
yeah, they just do it because the government told you so. And I mean, we've changed governments now. We have a Labor and a National, kind of like a Republican and Democratic Party here in New Zealand, and like every sort of 4 years or whatever, they sort of switch between the two. And the old Labor government, it really raised my eyebrows when they said, when COVID came along and they said, look, the only source of information you should trust is the source of information from the government. And I was just like, really? That's exactly the type of thing that someone that doesn't want you to look any further into this would say. So the proof's in the pudding, man, and the writing's on the wall. Because when your government's telling you to trust no one else but themselves, then they've obviously got something very nefarious to hide. So that made me raise my eyebrows.
Or if they're giving you free cheeseburgers and pizza and beer and stripper passes and stuff. I mean, that's what was happening in America. I know.
I'm in for the burgers and pizzas, nothing else.
They were paying prisoners, dude. Dude, they paid my a guy I know, he's in prison, and he got like $800 to get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Any prisoner who chose not 80, 800 per person. $800 to get and you're in prison. You got, of course you're gonna do it.
Hell yeah. In prison you would. That's a
put
lot
that money on my books, dude. Heck yeah.
It's a lot of commissary, that, isn't it?
That's a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah.
I know. That's insane. Free French fries. I mean, it's crazy, man.
I almost posted that video not long ago, and I just said, you made a video and just been like, you guys should have known then. The guy who was eating the cheeseburger and fries looked like an absolute fool. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he's like,
He's like, oh, they're so good. Yeah, come get you some. It's like, we want to eat those nice McDonald's French fries with all that poison in them.
I'm going to be like, can you guys believe you fell for this shit? And just post that video. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Seriously.
I do like McDonald's fries.
You guys obviously had like vaccine passes in your country, yeah? Did you have that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, here in New Zealand, there was all these proud boomers walking around with like their vaccine pass and like a lanyard, around their neck, being like, I'm better than the rest because I've been triple vaxxed, It's just like, dude, like, sweet as, bro. Like, enjoy your life while you have it.
Yeah, we've got one on our phone.
He probably has a limp now with a facial twit, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and just imagine another 5 years, like the 10-year side effects from these shots, man. Like a lot of the long terms don't kick in for 10 years is what somebody was saying in the video. So just imagine, I mean, that's a lot can happen in the next 5 years. A lot will happen. But just I can only imagine. I mean, I hope that nobody has any side effects. I mean, I don't hate the people that got the shots, but I just wish that they would have thought about it a little bit. Just a little bit more. I don't know, man.
Yeah, not rush into it. I mean, I'm sure it was the same worldwide, but they put a pretty severe stranglehold on your life here if you didn't.
Yeah, you can't go to work. You can't go.
I'm self-employed, so I was sweet, but I couldn't go to my son's swimming lessons unless I had like a vaccine pass, and like I couldn't do my sport, and there was a lot of things. And then once they finally opened up the restrictions and you could go out and eat restaurant, like that mask thing, man, was a complete joke. Like you go to a restaurant and you're wearing your mask, and then they take you to your table and you sit down, you take your mask off, you eat your meal. Oh, I better go pay now. So I put my mask back on and walk up to the counter to pay. Like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, COVID only exists at eye level. And it doesn't actually exist when you're sitting down at your table eating your food. Like, get real. And then I've seen press conferences. Sorry, Abby, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, especially like when I was working in the RV industry, that mask thing was such bullshit. Like we're working on like 120-degree days on like a building that's uncirculated. I'm doing 18 miles of cardio before 2 p.m. People were passing out. I was puking. I was vomiting in dumpsters.
Oh, I believe it.
It was bad, you guys. It was like being in the army. I'm not even kidding you. The worst work I've ever done. Ever.
Daggum. Yeah, that wasn't anything.
We had video conferences, here with the government and stuff. They were always on TV, saying this and that. And multiple times the camera would come on early and they were always pushing, you can't go anywhere without wearing this mask, like it has to be 2-meter distances from everyone, and then it would show the camera before they're going live, so to speak, and they're all standing right beside each other without their mask, just talking normally like you would, and then guys, we're live, so everyone put your mask on, and then we'll enter into the frame, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Like they're telling people to do this shit, and then here they are on TV doing the complete opposite of what they're telling everyone else that's mandated that they must do. It's just like
they did that here too.
Hypocrisy. Yeah, hypocrisy is finest level.
Yeah, I remember them doing that with Biden and like voila or something. They were not like they weren't wearing their mask behind the scenes, and then they were coming on and putting them on.
Yeah, we've got
Yeah,
all of that over here
ridiculous.
at the minute. Our Prime Minister, he's been caught doing that. He made his speech teacher, turned her into a key worker so that she could come and teach him how to speak during COVID.
Oh, wow.
That's the latest scandal over here for him.
Can you
Yeah,
believe
well,
it's just crazy sitting and looking at the screen and seeing things like that. A lot of times I'm like, I think I live in a fucking alternate reality than everybody else.
Oh, it's crazy.
The Matrix for real.
It's absolutely
yeah,
crazy.
too many people aren't awake, you know. So that's why podcasts like this help, and just talking about things and exposing it and just making people think, you know, outside the box. Because we want to help as many people as we can, but it's hard on our social platforms because they don't give us the platform, if you will, you know, for the audience. They just censor the videos or delete them, or, you know, I had one the other day and they didn't remove the video, they just muted it. So I don't know what good that is, unless you're a good lip reader or something.
I've had the muted ones. I've had all those.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess I've had one or two myself.
Just delete the thing if you're going to mute it. Like, no one's listening.
Yeah. Steve.
I thought about doing lip reading videos.
Oh, yeah, they're
Lip
really
reading?
good.
Yeah,
really
real,
good.
dude.
They're so funny to me. I love watching those things.
Those ones at the Grammys were really, really good.
Yeah, I need to watch that girl. There's like two different chicks that I've seen, and they're pretty funny about it.
Yeah, they are really, really good. Steve, do you want to take us out?
Yeah. So look, I got to go anyway. So no, thanks, Abby. Really appreciate you coming on and you know, shedding some light on these topics and sharing your information with us. Obviously, you're really knowledgeable on the subject. And yeah, for anyone else listening, obviously, you know, go follow her page at Truther4U22. So yeah, she's on all the major platforms and stuff. And yeah, I mean, thanks guys for tuning in and listening to another episode of us, chewing the fat. So yeah, we really, really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Awesome.
What's this? Another cliche love ballad. I'm sick and tired of hearing them on the radio. Don't worry, honey, we're shit, so no one will hear it. As long as you enjoy it, though, I can call it What's up with a little bit of expression? What's up with telling someone what they mean to you? What's wrong with drilling it into your head? You're the last thing I want to see before I go to bed. It's so damn hard to find someone that you love, to have a special connection, but it happened right away. I knew you had to be mine, it's all for you, and I'm in love. I was searching for a sign, even from above.